Hey friends, Cherie here. Welcome back to the channel. Gardening Home with Cherie. Friday, July 10th. And we're continuing on with our daily harvest series. I'm gonna definitely grab these peas. They are big enough. Despite the heat, this variety is still blooming and producing. I'm gonna have to go in and check that tag and take note of this because even right now it's almost 90 degrees in the sun and I'm still getting peas. I love it. Now they blend in. They're like almost exactly the same color as the the leaves, and so I'm gonna take my time, pick through those. This is the potato. This is session 3 of the potatoes. Look how tall. They're so tall above the soil. Yeah. And of course, probably grab a few more sweet banana peppers though. I'm gonna start letting them stay on the taller plants to ripen. I was just harvesting them off the shorter plants so that I would, give the plants a chance to get a little bit taller. All the ones that are getting taller, I will then start to leave those plants to ripen. They get really sweet when they're red. Again, I will check this green stalk. I got peppers off of here yesterday, so there may not be any to get there, but that's okay. I have some peppers down in the lower garden that I'm gonna grab, and I think I'm gonna grab my first purple bell pepper I saw up here. More cucumber plants are blooming. I love that. The purple peas pretty good yesterday, but I'll look for any that are big enough to harvest. And then of course I'm gonna be up in here searching for more beans. You gotta keep them picked so that they will continue to grow. And especially with this heat, I wanna make sure that these plants stay in good production for me. And so, yeah. Then I have some bees. This is a weed that I have to pull out of some of these beds. It's always here in spring and early summer when I get it out of there. And yeah, lots and lots of beans ready to harvest. So again, I'm also gonna go check all the green stalks. And then based on the beans, I will decide what else I want to harvest. I might be doing fish tonight. Oh, that big strawberry is gonna ripen soon. And that cucumber we planted together directly out here. It's still a little bit cold. It took a while to germinate. And then it just took off. So I can't even wait to start getting cucumbers. So what I'm gonna do, since I'm getting some cherry tomatoes, I'm gonna go ahead and start sowing some salad greens. I already have some leafy greens, the kales, the things like that are fine in heat. And yeah, if you look here, this is some endive variety. So I'm gonna just start sowing a bunch more greens because I wanna have those salad greens that I like ready when the cucumbers and more cherry tomatoes are ready so I can make some salads. And you see up in here, all these beans. This is a variety that gets really long. So I've been harvesting them much smaller, but yeah. So I'm gonna get all in here and we'll see what I get to harvest today. Let's see, I didn't even see all these last night. So yeah, gotta do this in better daylight. So I have to get my bowl and I'm gonna get the harvest of the beans done and then we'll discuss what else I will harvest. I have to say I am impressed with how good these pea plants are still looking with all the heat we've been getting. Some new seeds are coming up. I decided to just put a couple seeds in with the pepper, with the pepper plant. So, yeah. We're gonna kick off a weekly vlog today. It is July the 11th, Saturday, July 11th. And I'm just going to combine my harvest and my chores into one video this week. I'm gonna go through, and it's gonna be a very hot week, so that's also part of why I'm doing this. I probably won't be outside quite as much. And so we're gonna start with more raspberries. This will be the second little raspberry harvest. And if it's anything like last year, I got a small, I got some small rounds of raspberries here and there in July. And then at the end of the season, for probably about 3 weeks straight, we were just getting bowls like every day. So I'm hopeful that I will have a repeat of that this season, and now that these raspberry shrubs are established. So yeah, I'm gonna go through and pick out the raspberries. Things cool off today. I'm gonna come through and get this whole area cleaned up. I still haven't gone in and taken out any of the dead branches from last year, and just kind of getting this area into a better shape. I have some new things that I'm gonna plant up here, and just some general cleaning and maintenance that I need to do. And then I still have here, I can identify about 6 plants here that have somehow migrated. I don't know if these grew from raspberries that dropped, or if somehow these branches are growing down through the ground and coming out of the rocks here. But either way, I'm going to pull these plants out and transplant them into another section of this bed behind all this, because I have some peonies that, the peonies come early and then they bloom for like 2 weeks and they're done. And so I'm going to clean up the area kind of behind the peonies and transplant these shrubs back there, just so we have more raspberries. You can see here, see the peonies will just be spent like this. I'll come in and clean that up. But yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. There are already some raspberries behind there. The Japanese beetles are here destroying leaves this time of the year. So I need to just go through and collect them as well. This is just a tree that fell over. It's still in the pot that needs to get planted. So basically we need to get this bed together. And there are even more little raspberry plants coming out. I might have to put those in pots until I figure out what I'm gonna do with them or gift them. But yeah, so that's gonna be one of the projects for this week. So hopefully by the end of the week, I can show you this looking a little bit better. This lily bed here is blooming absolutely beautifully, but there are some weeds that are in here. Again, this might be some berry transplant. The Japanese beetles are here. And so I might ask my husband to get in here for me this week if I have too many things on my list, to kind of pull out the weeds. And then I think for the first time, I'm gonna fertilize this area just with like a liquid foliar feed. It's been hot, it's been rainy. They're really overgrown, they need to be separated. So I'll do that just to give them a little bit of a boost. So yeah, that's on the chore list. To get the raspberries, I'll get in here and see if there are, I can see just a few blackberries have ripened. So I'll just climb in there. Sometimes they're under the leaves hiding. So I'll get in there and harvest any raspberries that I can find. And again, this is an area that just needs, a couple sporadic tree weeds pulled out. There's a huge wild mullein that is over there that needs to come out. And yeah, unfortunately, again, the Japanese beetles, but I'm gonna leave these kinds of things here and they can, you know, nibble on those things and hopefully leave a lot of my fruit trees alone. And other things that they got into the grapevines and destroyed those quite a bit. Very annoying, but anyway, we shall deal with that. I really need to tackle the overgrown mint in this area, cut that back quite a bit. I ended up not even transplanting anything in here because the mint was growing so quickly. But I have some larger transplants ready that I could put in now. Oh no, look at this spider. This spider got my ladybug, y'all. Oh man. I really want to save my ladybug. Jeez. It's a big, weird spider. I know I shouldn't interfere with nature, but I don't want that ladybug destroyed. Hold on. I went to get a stick to knock the spider away. The ladybug defended herself against that big old spider. I'm gonna put it on the side here. Good for her. But I think that spider just went down a little bit under the leaves to hide. So I'm gonna try to move her somewhere else. Jeez. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So I go to get containers to kind of knock the ladybug into, and I come back over here and there's this frog that jumped out, and I'm realizing that might be why the spider let go. It wasn't the ladybug. Another predator came for the spider, and the spider was like, I'ma eat later, and ran away. I'm gonna move this little precious lady. Nature is just wild. Survival of the fittest, y'all. All right, so I moved her over here onto this callaloo. Hopefully she can live another day. She can take care of any bugs that might be over here. It looks like she's moving. I don't know if the spider caused her harm or what. And for all I know, as soon as I walk away, a bird swoops down and eats her. But it's like, oh, I couldn't leave her there. So y'all, this is what be distracting me in the garden. All right, let me get back to work. Anyway, sorry, I got a little distracted there with a little bug showdown, but I did notice on some of my squash plants, some little babies are coming. So hopefully squash will join the harvest party this week, we'll see. Cucumbers are also one of those things, I mean, they can go from like flower to fruit pretty quickly, and I have a lot of cucumber flowers appearing all through the garden, so we'll see about that. I'm gonna be getting some callaloo. Again, you can see those Japanese beetles on here. This one is going to flower, so I'm gonna net this one and try to get some seeds. This squash has jumped to the bed. I don't know what that is, but I see flowers. I see male flowers. I don't see any fruiting flowers on it just yet. So many tomato blossoms are on all my different cherry tomato plants, but I only have a few that are producing fruit, you know, just a few here and a few there. But I cannot wait to have them join the harvest party. All up in here, this mint has grown tall again. I cut this back to the ground twice already, so I'm just gonna get in there in between all my onions and cut that down for a harvest to freeze dry. But let's do a quick peek of what else I'm gonna get today, because I need to get this done and get back inside. I'm gonna get some of the peppers off in here. So I've already gotten some red peppers off, well, all the red peppers off. I'm gonna get some the yellow ones and some that are changing. And I'm going to get some pepper sauce made up with those to have like a milder batch. So the red one should be really hot. This should be kind of a medium heat. So I'm going to test that out. So I'm going to harvest all those. I'm going to get the raspberries. In the hillside, there's a purple bell pepper for sure. And I might get some more beans. We'll see. Yeah, so it's a little after 5 p.m. and it is registering, you know, through the weather app 92 degrees. So I have thermostats all over my garden, and there's some areas of my garden that are registering in full sun 109 degrees right now. It's hot. But I'm thrilled to say that the garden is still doing well. It's hanging in there. I came up here to harvest, and I could definitely notice some plants looked a little stressed. I do like to go ahead and water my plants, the leaves and all, when we have heat like this. Every garden season that I've gardened here since 2020 in Minnesota Zone 4 has had these like bouts of very hot weather. Just a matter of what time of year it comes. I have to be a little gentler. I don't know if there are birds coming in here biting these, but I'm noticing like a lot of the plants are snapping in this upper area, and the leaves are kind of dying. So I might have to be a little bit gentler. Could be these bugs on here also. I don't know. And it could also just be the heat. Like I noticed that this the green stalk pockets were very dry on this one in particular. You know, see where the other ones, I mean, even the peas are looking fine and blooming. It's been hot and I'm getting new pea blooms over here. So I may have messed up the watering on this particular one. This one does, I think, also just get more sun based on its position and how the sun moves across the garden. But anyway, I'm up here because I have a lot of food that I need to harvest. And despite the temperatures, I need to get this harvested while I can see it, especially the green beans, because I keep coming up later in the day and the sun is moved and I am just missing a lot of green beans. Like, I'm not even kidding how much food I've missed even yesterday while I was up here. So I mean, all these beans. Now these were not quite as yellow as I like for them to get yesterday, but this will definitely should be a good bean harvest again today. You can see here I love to plant heat tolerant kale varieties. The kale is just still looking really good. I've harvested a couple times. You should have seen that on the videos harvest series. So I should probably sow more kale in general this time of the year. But again, there's just a lot of food in here that I need to get because it's going to be a very hot week. I don't know how the plants are going to grow, a lot, a little, but I want to make sure I get all the food that I can out of here. Let's see. It's just the beans are just hard to see once the shade comes into this garden. They're daddy long legs everywhere up here, eating all the bad bugs for me, keeping the garden healthy. And some of the marigolds are starting to bloom. So the other thing I noticed up here is I was watering the grow bag with the potatoes, and I can see that one is above the ground, and I can see this little baby here. So this is a Yukon Gold bag, and I don't know, I have a couple of these bags, so I'm kind of tempted to just harvest this one bag and just see what's in there, just like I did with the purple potatoes that you saw a few days ago in the harvest video. And so yeah, I just want to see how these are doing. Again, I have a bunch of bags with these in them, so I think I'm going to just check on that one as well during this harvest. It's really fun to see that I'm still getting strawberries. Look at that big beauty. I'm going to get that. It's fully ripened on both sides. And so gonna get those for sure. Probably gonna get some more fennel so I can make that one bean salad that I made last week. But I did notice this plant has a lot of caterpillars on it again. So I've been seeing the black swallowtail and some orange butterflies, yellow butterflies flying around in the garden. But I think this one grow bag, I'm gonna harvest any of the leaves that don't have these caterpillars on them, and I'm gonna move this bag to an area, and I'm gonna see if I can keep these caterpillars in here through their chrysalis phase and hatching, because I would really love to be able to observe that. And so, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do here. And then I might grab one or two of these potato bags back here. Again, these are all from my first succession of sowing. The ones in here, they're probably, I'm gonna count them real quick. So there are at least 20 grow bags in this part of the garden that have potatoes growing, that were all a part of my first succession of potato sowing. And so I'm growing a bunch of different varieties that should be maturing at different times. Many of the varieties I've never grown before. And so I'm not sure exactly, you know, how much time they really need and what the plant should look like when it's time to harvest. You know, some of them, they should die back completely. Sometimes you don't want to wait till then. And sometimes you just want your food. And that's the stage I am. Also because I did 4 sowings of potatoes. And so this is the small first round. Well, yeah, smallish, because I have about 3 times the amount, maybe 3 to 4 times the amount growing with successions 2, 3, and 4. So I have a lot of opportunities to get potatoes, and I'm just really curious about this. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and harvest a bag or 2 of potatoes as well. I'm also gonna grab a few of these hot banana peppers, and I'm gonna keep them separate because I do have some sweet banana peppers to harvest as well. I was originally gonna get this purple bell pepper yesterday, but I decided to wait, so I'm gonna get that today. I noticed on just up here it was still a little bit greenish, and you can see here it's gotten way more purple. It's almost completely purple now. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest that. The cayenne peppers are getting really long, some of them. They're so beautiful. Sorry, I know there's like the glare of the sun there. A bunch of the pea plants also have peas that I need to harvest. These pea varieties, I gotta go around and look at the tags to see what's what, but all the pea varieties are doing really, really well, even though it's been hot. So I love that for me. This purple variety is starting to produce pods also. This is more of a dwarf plant. So here's some more purple pods. Getting another flush of strawberries, which is exciting. We'll see how long it takes. We'll see how they continue to develop in the heat, and then see how long they take to ripen. And I'm gonna keep this watered really well. And I've been harvesting down these sweet banana peppers pretty good. Some new ones are coming that need to get bigger, but there are a few that are ready to harvest. And then I think, you know, soon, hopefully I'll get enough of them coming at the same time where I can harvest some like this, and then I can leave a lot on the plant to get red. That's when they get really sweet. This potato bed here, which is a part of the second succession, they're starting to put on their flowers. So I'll be monitoring this. This is a variety that I've never grown before, so I'm very excited. The plants are really tall too. I gotta train my squash to go. I'll have to take my time and untangle that so my squash grows on the fence and not weaving through my potatoes. Cucumbers are coming, so I'll have to keep them, you know, watered so that they don't get too stressed out in this heat. And then yeah, I'll look through all the green stalks where I have the sweet banana peppers and see how many I can get off. But right now it's super duper hot. I gotta go put on some hot weather harvesting clothes and get my containers. And what I'm gonna be doing is just harvesting from an area. Look at how long that one got. What I'm gonna be doing is just harvesting from an area and then getting that. This really put on. I'm impressed with how well the peas are doing this summer. Normally, I would have grown peas really early in the season, but I just wanted to test them out this year up in this hillside garden. I usually grow them down in the main garden, and the main garden is way hotter than this garden. And so, yeah, I'm glad I went on and put peas up here right now because it's so fun to be harvesting and enjoying peas in July. So anyway, let me go get my containers and we'll see how much food I get out of this garden today. I also decided to thin out some of this endive over here in this bed. We started these seeds directly, shared this already in the early garden video. So I direct seed sowed these early in spring, and I'm just gonna pull out a few that are, close up on each other, basically thinning them out and eating them. So yeah, I'll just pull out enough for tonight, and then these will all have space. I'm trying to pull some of the bigger ones, and then the smaller ones will have time to and space to grow. Okay, that's my little endive bouquet for the day. All right, I finished getting the beans and the peas, and the banana peppers. Got the purple pepper. Now I'm gonna go harvest this potato grow bag just out of curiosity to see what that stage is of these potatoes. So let's head over to the area where I'm gonna do that harvest. Okay, I decided to leave that one grow bag alone that had the new caterpillars on it. I'm not gonna harvest any fennel from that. I'm just gonna move that whole grow bag and protect it. So I'm gonna harvest the fennel from this grow bag instead. Just inspecting it, making sure there are no baby caterpillars on there. Nope. Okay. Because I did notice over here, on this one here, there's another baby. So I want to make sure they have enough food to eat to grow. And I have plenty of fennel. I have more fennel growing in my lower garden also. And like I said, they don't eat the bulb. They're just going to eat the green fronds, and then they will get really fat and hopefully survive to go into their chrysalis and emerge as beautiful butterflies. We shall see. All right, I got a lot of beans. There's still a lot left. There's still a lot left that need to grow bigger, but there are even more that, I could harvest them now, but they are varieties that will get longer and will stay slim and tender. So instead of harvesting them now and keeping them in the fridge, I will get this one wrong one though. I will again come out tomorrow and just keep, actually, I missed this whole branch. I'm gonna get these 3 because they're already pretty long. And then, yeah. Oops, I'm being a little rough with my plant because I'm one-handed here, but there we go. Get those 3. And then, yeah, like I said, we'll have a lot to harvest again tomorrow, so we'll see. That's how I like it. Come out every day, get what I need, and then at some point towards the end of the season, there'll be more than I need, and I'll start preserving lots of that as I continue to eat through it daily as well. That's the plan anyway. All right, let's get back on track and go harvest this potato bag. And then I think, so that I don't confuse it, I'm gonna get those hot banana peppers tomorrow. All right, y'all, so again, I know the leaves have not died back on these yet, but I did see a big potato sticking out, and I could theoretically add more soil on top of this, but since I have lots of bags of these potatoes, this variety, well, all the varieties, I'm gonna go ahead and harvest this one because I'm really curious, and I don't mind eating another potato. So let's I forgot to bring my tripod up again. I need to keep one up here so you can see here. That's what I saw when I was watering. And so I hope that this potato is still okay. Let's see what else is in this grow bag. And since I'm trying to learn how to grow a year's worth of potatoes here in Minnesota Zone 4, you know, I know a lot of it's going to be trial and error, and I got to make my own, observations and mistakes to understand. But that's already looking pretty good. That's all the way at the bottom of the bag. Wow. There's another one. Number 3. So as we go up to the top, they're getting smaller. So yeah. And then there's this is huge. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. I'm gonna need 2 hands to get that one off. I'm gonna need 2 hands to get that off. So this is interesting. This was up top, but it's almost like it started sprouting again and growing more potatoes from this one. The skin on this one is also very thick in comparison to these and darker. So that's interesting. So now I don't know what I should do with the other bags, because like I said, I do have more. There are more in there. I have more growing, and I have some in another succession growing. So now I have to think about, because clearly that's a good amount of potatoes in this one grow bag. I put 1 potato in here. I'm gonna weigh them, of course. I'm gonna put all this soil. You can see all these little potatoes are on here. So what I'm gonna do is put all this soil and this plant back in there like I did with that purple one, and we'll leave it for another week and just see what happens. Will the leaves just start to die back, or am I gonna grow more potatoes? I don't know. And then we'll get these inside and get them weighed, and we're gonna eat those potatoes. Very exciting. These are the smallest grow bags. I have a lot of bigger grow bags and bigger containers and huge raised beds that I'm also growing potatoes in. So if I'm getting this from this little, I think this is like a 7-gallon grow bag, and I put 1 seed potato in there, I am very interested to see what's going to come out of the other ones. So okay, it's July 12th. And I got my first round of Yukon Gold potatoes. Yep, are these Yukon Golds? Yep, Yukon Gold potatoes. Very exciting. I remember to go back to get my strawberry. I'm gonna get these potatoes rinsed off, and then we're gonna head into the house with all our groceries. All right, so here are the raspberries for the day. All right, so I got all the peppers. Well, most of the peppers. There are a few small ones on there that are left, but like I said, it's going to be a hot week, so I don't see any blooms on this right now. So I think what I'll do, I might even move this on the shady side of the greenhouse and just kind of let it revive, bounce back, start flowering again, give it some fertilizer. And like I said, I might split these plants up into different pots. We'll see. Maybe I'll do it to one and leave one with all three of them together. I'll figure that out tomorrow. But got the peppers to start some more pepper sauce. All right, so here's everything all washed off. I have these Italian beans. This is, I think, 3 or 4 different varieties of green beans, the red swan beans, the purple TP beans. These are another kind of purple bean, forget the name. Mixture of peas, including one purple one. This is one of my yellow wax bean varieties. Got my fennel, endive, gorgeous, gorgeous purple pepper, the first one of the season. One strawberry, but she's a big beauty. And Yukon Gold potatoes. Now you can see here, these don't have a very thin skin. This is where the skin has thickened, but I think this was the one that was up high. These were all down in the middle or at the bottom even. And like, I think these were probably still growing. In here, I think what happened was this grew, and maybe because it was at the surface, it grew really fast. And I think it started chitting, and I think it started, you know, trying to grow more potatoes because that's what was attached to this. And I'll cut into it and I'll see what it looks like. It's very hard. It's very heavy. Actually, let's just do that right now. I'm going to weigh it and then I'm going to cut into it. I feel like I'm going to cut it like down half because I might replant that. Let's see. All right, let's get the weight on that. So that looks like it's 11.8 ounces. And now I'm gonna cut it in half. Wow, I mean, it looks like a perfectly good potato. And so I wonder if because that part was sticking out of the soil and I didn't notice it, you know, it just kind of dried out and then it started chitting. So I don't know. We'll see. I probably will just go ahead and bury this because like I said, I have a lot of Yukon Gold potatoes planted, and hopefully they will, you know, grow as well as these did in this little bag. And then these I'm going to cook. I'm not going to set these out to try to cure them. I'm going to go ahead and cook those. Yeah. So I'll cut one of these open when I'm ready to cook it, and we can do a comparison maybe of what the inside looked like. Let's get the rest of these weighed actually. So that was like 1 3/4 pounds of potatoes total. So that's at 1 pound, 2.7 ounces. Let's put these 2 halves in there, even though, you know, they're a little different. So we're at 1 pound, 14.5 ounces of Yukon Gold potatoes from 1 seed potato, and I think that's a 7-gallon grow bag. It's either a 5-gallon or I think it's a 7-gallon grow bag. So, and it clearly wasn't finished. Again, I'm experimenting with different ways of growing the potatoes and trying to understand what's going to be the best way to grow the different varieties. Here for me, in my Minnesota zone for a garden, it may be different. You know, our climate, everything is different. Timing is different. When I plant them is different, especially if you live in the South. And so I do feel like if I want to master growing a year's worth of potatoes, I need to do the investigation myself to understand what I need to do. And also, right, like what I consider a year's worth of potatoes might be different from what you consider a year's worth of potatoes also, right? I mean, there are people who will grow, you know, 12 winter squash, and that's a year's supply of winter squash for them. That's like 2 months of winter squash for me. And so you have to, right, where there are other things like I don't grow and eat a lot of that. Like I don't eat a lot of corn. So I don't even bother growing corn right now because it's just not something I eat a lot of. And if I grew a year's worth, I would probably grow enough for like 3 or 4 special holiday dinners. But other than that, I don't buy corn, and I don't personally eat a lot of corn. So anyway, I'm going to get the rest of my produce weighed and into my garden journal, and then we will continue on tomorrow. I'm going to try to get outside early to get some chores done, and I can share with you all the progress there. And then certainly we will do another harvest. .9 ounces of sweet banana peppers. Purple Beauty pepper is 1.5 ounces. It's silly to weigh the strawberry, but let's see. The strawberry is 0.9 ounces. .8 ounces of peas today. .3 ounces of the yellow wax beans. I'll put the 2 purple beans together. That's at 1.1 ounces. The red swan beans, 1.7 ounces. This is the mixture of the different green beans. That's at 6.3 ounces. These are the Italian beans, 0.7 ounces. Then the endive is 3.8 ounces. And lastly is the fennel, which, let's see if we get it all in there. So the fennel is 3.3 ounces. Okay, that's the harvest tally for Sunday, July 12th, 2026. Okay, let's get a second weight on this round of these hot peppers. So we're at 9 ounces. And there's not a lot of raspberries. My husband did confess that he went out and already started eating them directly. I felt like there should have been more on the plants when I went to harvest, but he beat me to them. But it is 2.2 ounces of raspberries. So this will be just another great portion for him to enjoy with his breakfast in the morning. All right, friends, so I got some of the vegetables cut. I remember we harvested a lot of these, more than I need for dinner. So I'm going to use the banana peppers and the 1 purple pepper. I'm going to saute those with these, just the green beans. I pulled out most of the green beans. I'm going to save these colorful beans and peas and those Italian flat peas for tomorrow's lunch. And I have some tomatoes from a couple days ago that have ripened. I had pulled some off that weren't fully ripened yet. And so, yeah, I'm going to incorporate those into dinner tonight. But I just realized I forgot to grab an onion. So let me run down to the garden. I'm going to grab that onion, get that chopped up, and we're going to get a quick dinner on the table. All right, so here's dinner. I just cubed up those Yukon Gold potatoes. These are so delicious. And I'm so glad I have so many more of these growing. And we're just gonna do some beef bowls. So I have some ground American Wagyu. Is it called Wagyu or Wagyu?
Wagyu.
Wagyu. And then some beef tenderloin tips. These are our vegetables, all from the garden, just sauteed. And we got our tomatoes from the garden, our green onion tops from the garden, and then avocado. I made a little brownie for dessert. Now that bowl was a big hit. Somebody requested to have something similar for lunch, so I'm not thinking happy day. Hey friends, Sherry here. Well, it is Wednesday, July 15th. We're back down in the garden trying to harvest some things before it gets too hot. I've already come down and I've given everything a drink. Ugh. These nasty Japanese beetles, they just won't stop. Let me get my container. All right, so as I was saying, I'm gonna harvest. I saw while I was watering that there were some blackberries and raspberries ready. So I'm gonna go harvest those before it gets too hot. I'm gonna look at all the blueberries and see, you know, what they're given. And yeah, and then I have some chores to do on one side of the garden. I'm still transplanting a few last things, and then I'm going to be doing some direct seed sowing. So yeah, let me get the harvest in. I'll show you that, and then I'm going to get to work. Despite the heat, more and more of the daylilies are opening. I will give this area a real deep watering tonight. Yeah, just to keep the blooms going. And over in here, more are starting to open. And like I said, as I was watering, I saw clusters of blackberries. So I'm gonna get in there, root around. They hide up under the leaves, and the leaves are thorny. So I'm gonna put the camera down and just harvest what I can. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna hurry up and you know, look, I'm so grateful to still see, despite the heat, my pollinators are out buzzing. They're hitting those cucumber plants. I can't wait to get cucumbers. But now I'm gonna harvest a couple peppers because I may not have too much time to harvest later today. So I still have stuff left over from yesterday that I'm gonna use in tonight's dinner. I'll run down and get some. I might actually get a lot of the onions. I'll come down and do that because there are a lot of onions that I need to just get out. Those short day onions, I think most of them are done. But I'm gonna need some peppers. So I think I'm gonna get this big one here. Yeah, that looks good. Probably need one more, and then I'm gonna get the tomatoes that I see that are ready. Actually, I'm gonna get some of these sriracha peppers here because I harvested some from the hillside garden that I still have. Oops, I can see this one is turning red, so I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna get a couple more that are still green so I can make what I want to make. I need a little bit more to make that. And I'm gonna let the rest of these, well, let me get one more. And then I'm gonna let the rest of them turn red so I can try to make some sriracha sauce. I have all these on this plant also. Try to let those turn red. We'll see. If I need more for what I'm gonna try to make today, then I'll come out and get them. But this should be enough. I'm testing something. So I'll put those in there. Let me get the tomatoes real quick. All right, so I got the berries, the peppers, I'm gonna put these tomatoes in with the berries. So I'm gonna get these inside. I'm gonna try and get a few chores done in a section of the garden where there's shade right now. And then I'll have to come back out once shade gets on the side of the garden where those short date onions are. And I'm gonna just go through that area and probably harvest most of them. You'll see, I'll show you what it looks like over there. You'll see why I wanna go ahead and get those out. All right, y'all, well, I have a change of plans. We have some not so great weather right now. We have some smoke that's moved into the area. And so while I planned on doing quite a bit of garden work this evening, once the temperatures cool down, I'm just gonna get a couple of onions for tonight's dinner and get back inside. And the forecast says that the smoke is gonna be in our area through Friday. So, you know, we'll see, that could change. But I don't want to be out here too much. So what I'm going to do is just, I need like 2 onions for dinner. And then as soon as the air clears, I will come out here and get the rest of these onions that I wanted to get. So I'm just lifting up this squash plant. And I'm just gonna pull out the ones. Again, I'm realizing that these short date onions are not gonna get much bigger at this stage because we have long days now in Minnesota, and you can see that skin is forming on the ones that get dark skin. And so yeah, I think I'm gonna get one more. I think I'm gonna get one more and then we're gonna get inside and cook. Actually, let's get these 2 because I don't think that's gonna get much bigger. And look at that, I mean, the skin is really developing on there. So definitely gotta get those out as soon as the air clears well enough for me to spend some time out here. All right, friends, so let's get dinner ready tonight. We're gonna use those bell peppers that we harvested and the tomatoes. And I'm going to start off by getting these cubed sweet potatoes into the oven to roast. They're purple Japanese, white Japanese, and orange Japanese sweet potatoes. And yeah, so we're going to get those in the oven to roast. Okay, let's get the weight on the green bell pepper, and the one that I let ripen to orange. 3.1 ounces. And then the weight on the green srirachas, 4.8 ounces. The weight on the tomatoes, 3.1 ounces. All right, and so here's tonight's dinner. I made some, my son requested another meat bowl. We love bowls in this house. And a few weeks ago, I did one with ground meat and some steak bites. And this time I decided to make patties. So that far left row is just lamb, ground lamb. Then the middle one is ground beef. And then the far right one is a mixture of the ground lamb and the ground beef. We got some shredded raw goat cheese, our 3 varieties of Japanese sweet potatoes. I had a pack of party wings thawed, so I threw those in the oven. And then here are our tomatoes. I grabbed some herbs from the garden also. We'll just add those on top as garnish and to nibble on. And then here's our bowl of garden fresh vegetables, the onions, and the 2 peppers. So we'll just family style build our bowls. Here's my son's bowl. Power packed with some protein for that growing young man. He's teasing me in the background, y'all. Hey friends. All right, so it is Thursday, July 16th, and last evening we had some smoke and ash move in. Yeah, there's some wildfires at the barrier, and we're getting the smoke and ash. And so we dealt with this a couple years with the Canadian wildfires. And so I did turn my automatic sprinkler system back on, so the whole property got washed off this morning. But I'm going to come out and just check the plants. I did not come back out last night to harvest the onions from over here. So I still plan to do that. It actually is the most comfortable it's felt in a while. It's in the 70s right now this morning. So I might hose things off and get those. Let me show you what the sky looks like. It's like a real weird haze. Not as thick as the Canadian wildfires were that year, but it has this like glow. Everything just looks a little like yellowish orange. Last night it was kind of crazy because the moon was like red. It's very moody, and you can see, it's still clear, but you can tell there's like this little haze. Now as I was driving, I saw into downtown, and that looked like dense down there. But where I am, it's not too bad. Now I have a lot of trees that are gonna filter my air also. But it's always good to check on the plants. And hopefully it won't last too long. The winds might shift and it might be gone tomorrow. So we'll see. But anyway, I'm just out here checking and looking. I'm probably going to be doing more indoor chores today. I might grab, the sprinkler did a great job. Everything looks really nice and moistened. I will not be out here transplanting or anything, but I have a bunch of things that I need to do. I need to update some things in the journal and prepare some things for preservation as well. So I always have plenty to do. So yeah. All right, let me go inside the fence and check on things. Okay, so I'm also up here in the hillside garden on Thursday checking on things. I just doused everything with water up here. The sprinkler system definitely ran, but things are just so compact in here. I just wanted to make sure that everything got rinsed. And you can see I'm sticking with not harvesting for a couple days. I didn't even realize that the wildfire smoke was coming. And so I'm glad that, in general, I've just been staying on top of things. But I am noticing some of the beans are getting, oh no, they're still tender though. So I usually harvest them much skinnier because I really like that taste, but these I think are gonna stay tender. And these are ones that I'm definitely I'm gonna start more of these. I need to start more. So yeah, so that'll be a nice harvest coming up. And then I do think I'm gonna go ahead and harvest more of the potatoes, because again, I'm fine with having them as new potatoes. All the varieties that are growing within this fenced-in area I have multiple beds somewhere of them growing. So, but overall, things are looking good. Look at how long the cayenne peppers are getting. So I'm back out here on Thursday. It looks like a lot of the smoke has cleared. I don't even smell it anymore. Let me show you the sky. You can see here the sky has cleared quite a bit. Birds are out. I just saw some butterflies in the garden. And that kind of like weird yellowish orange haze is gone. The sun is pretty clear. And I don't smell the smoke anymore. So the air quality is still bad. So I have my mask and sunglasses on. But a lot of the air quality, I mean, it's just been bad because of the heat and the UV index. So I'm out here giving the lower garden an evening drink. Got to do the greenhouse and the hillside garden as well. The air quality number also changed quite a bit. It was at like 392 and it's down to like 193, which is what has been, just from the heat, that the smoke coming in, like doubled the number. So yeah, everything is looking good. And again, even the mosquitoes were out.
Drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on. I put my feet up and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling
Kind of hard to make one portion, so I'm like, let him eat.
Could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I
would like to eat that.
Okay, friends, so we are continuing on. It is Friday, and I'm up in the hillside garden. The smoke, as I said, cleared yesterday. My husband actually saw a report in the morning saying that the winds might change and that the smoke would likely clear faster than they thought, and that is exactly what happened. And so that was thrilling. So the sky went back to normal. I could not smell any smoke. I did on that day come out. I rinsed off all the plants in the morning. Well, we ran the sprinkler overnight and then we rinsed off all the plants in the morning. I rinsed off this garden bed in the afternoon again, and then I rinsed off the lower garden in the evening again, or you saw it in the video. But bottom line is, I just made sure everything was watered well. And now it's just at that stage, like these plants have been in here growing for a couple months, and I just need to reset this garden so that I can really maximize my growing time. There are some really persistent weeds that pop up in this area. They started popping up. I don't know if I got a soil bag contaminated or what happened, but gradually every year I've been reducing it because I have to get them out. It's a thistle, and I just have to see here it's starting to make seeds. So I got to get in here and get these things out before they start dropping their seeds. Do some tidying, and then just evaluate some things like this leek bed. Like, I don't know, I just feel like they grew tall, but they're not really getting any wider. And it's like some squirrels kept getting in here and digging around. So I might even just go ahead and like clear this bed, cut my losses. I can grow start some more leeks from seed. I have a lot of leek seeds, and then I can put something else in this bed. I'm probably going to go through and find all the potatoes that, based on their timing to maturity, are faster growing ones, and especially ones that aren't for storage that I want to have as like fresh potatoes, as young potatoes. I'm going to probably harvest a few more bags of those. Those are the ones where I want the skin to stay soft and I want the potatoes to stay on the smaller side. And then I have a bunch of potatoes that I'm growing that are meant for storage. They're going to be growing in the raised beds and grow beds theoretically until the very end of my season, come into September-ish. So again, that'll give me some space to get in here. I need to trellis the tomatoes that are intermingling in here. These big old tomatoes. I never even got a chance to put the trellis in. So I need to do that just so things don't snap and so I can see and protect them when they start to ripen. Yeah, so I'm going to be just tidying and harvesting throughout this whole garden bed. I put up a short to give like a sneak peek of some of the things, but I'll just do a quick scan here as well, just to show you some of the other things that I plan to get. And then again, like I said, I'm going to pull out a lot of potatoes, things that I want to breathe and have airflow can get that. I can restart some things and get a second round. I definitely want to start more beans, and I can use those grow bags for that, etc. So as I mentioned earlier in the week, I did not harvest from the beans for a few days. I wanted them to, have a chance to just grow more and ripen more. And that has occurred. So like these I had been harvesting even when they were smaller than this, and they a lot of them grew up to their full potential. So I want to taste these and test these, because this is one of the variety candidates that I'm thinking about starting a lot of to have for canning beans. I have 3 or 4 varieties of green beans growing up here, and I started them to see like which ones were the most abundant, and they're all growing great. So I'll probably just set up separate containers, like I said, of each of those 4 green bean varieties, and just see how many I can grow. And they will be candidates for freeze drying, but specifically for pressure canning. And then I'm going to set up some more of my colorful beans, the purple and the red beans, so I can freeze dry some of those to enjoy. And then I have a whole separate section where I'm growing, kind of long beans and beans that are going to be for shelling. I don't grow a ton of those because I can buy beans real cheap. I'm really interested in using my grow time to grow fresh food that I eat freshly. The green beans we will go through pretty quickly, but I'm not into, other than stuff that's freeze dried, I'm not into holding on to squash for 2 and 3 years. And I want my food fresh, nutrient dense. I have some, again, freeze dried in the case of an emergency, but yeah, I'm eating. That's my whole point of gardening, is to grow and eat fresh food. So I'm going to collect all this and, like I said, tidy up the garden. And then what I'll do, this will continue Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we'll probably wrap up this video maybe with a tour. And look at how long these were able to get just leaving them alone for a couple of days. It's so exciting. So, okay, all right. I did notice that some of the marigolds are putting on buds, and it looked like one of the blooms over here even opened. When these open up, it's going to add such a nice color to the garden. Yeah. And I have some backup tomatoes and things that I just threw into pots and grow bags. They were my backups for my backups. I think I'll plop them up here also, and just, see how much I can get growing. But anyway, that's enough introduction. Let's get to work. All right, so here's the first round of what I've harvested from inside the garden. Now I'm going to go to the outside. I know they're peas, and I'm going to check the green stalks for more banana peppers, sweet banana peppers. See one tiny purple beauty pepper. I get that because this plant is very short. So I have a green stalk with the sweet banana peppers in it that sits more in sun. I'm going to leave those peppers alone and see how long it takes for them to ripen to red as they continue to grow. And I'm going to use this green stalk for harvesting some yellow ones for today. And we'll see. I might change my mind because that other one, I'll show you in a second, has a lot of peppers on it. But I don't need more today. I'm definitely going to get some peppers from the lower garden. So, yeah. And then I got to come back and I'm going to get all these peas. All right, here are those peas. And now let me show you the sweet banana peppers on this green stalk that sits in more sun throughout the day. So this one is getting more and more loaded with peppers. These sweet banana peppers grow so fast. But I really want to have some red. That's when they're real sweet. That's when you can save some good seeds from it, though I have a lot of the seeds, but it's always good to get a little bit of fresh seeds each year. But mainly I want them to ripen to red so I can have a batch of red ones. So we'll see how long it takes, and if I can stay patient, maybe what I'll do is end up picking a couple of plants and letting them go red, because then I feel like if I don't pick them, maybe they'll slow down in production. That's my fear. I'm gonna get these. Also, it's always hard to wait because it's like you never know, you know, what's gonna happen. You can have a storm, a pest, something come through, and then you're waiting to harvest and you don't get anything. So that's always in the back of my mind too, especially because these are yummy like this. So I had already broken what I said I was gonna do. That's the problem also of like being in Minnesota zone for a gardener. Garden season is just so short. I just want to always get all my food when I can. So there's that. Plan changed. All right, so I'm thrilled with this bowl. I'm gonna go put this inside, and then I'm gonna start pulling out those grow bags, deciding on which potatoes to harvest. And once I pull those out too, I'll take the time to get the weeding done that I need and to get the staking done that I need. But I'm gonna put these inside to stay cool in the kitchen while I do that work. And we'll be back to see what else I get from up here. And then I'll probably have to save the harvest for the lower garden more towards the evening when the sun moves away, because it's gonna be another scorcher. High gonna be, I think, 98 today. And my garden, if it's 98, is probably gonna feel like 110. So, yeah, let's get this inside. I almost missed the strawberries that were ripening in this bed. So I got this one. I'm doing weeding in here as I'm moving the potato bags also. And I gotta thoroughly check the other strawberry plants. And I really need to cut this orange and mint back because that's what's kind of hiding the strawberries. But I'll just slowly work. And it's really great to work in this spot in the garden because even though it's 90 some degrees, it doesn't feel like it here because this garden is not in full sun until afternoon, at which time I will not be out here. So I'm going to take advantage of the shade and get as much done as I can with the weed. And then I've already pulled a couple of containers that I know I want to harvest as young early potatoes. So yeah, we'll just keep working. All right, so cleared this area up pretty good. I'm gonna house the couple of grow bags. I think I have 4 so far, because these 2, and I have 2 more outside the garden where I started to harvest from them, and then I decided to replant them because they still had baby potatoes on them. You should have seen all those potato harvests already during the daily harvest and cook series. But I'll have those 4 just leaning back here, just continuing to grow until the leaves turn completely brown, I think, and then we'll reharvest those buckets just to see what happened. This is a container here where I didn't even realize they were completely smothered. I was trying to start some dwarf sunflower seeds here, and it looks like they germinated, but then they were completely, the potato leaves were laying all over them. And so I have some transplants of sunflowers or some other flowers left that I'm probably gonna fill this up with. And then as I harvest the potato bags that I've pulled, I'll put those grow bags back here with some new things. And I might use the shady area to grow out some more leafy greens probably. So yeah, I have my weeding bucket that I'm filling up. And then these are 3 containers of potatoes from this corner that I've pulled so far. We're gonna take them outside and start dumping them and harvesting them. I still have to go through this area to check to see. I might just harvest all of them or most of them as well. And then I've gotten up into this area. I had 4 containers with potatoes in it that I've pulled from here. I'm gonna harvest, and I'm gonna harvest all 4 of these containers. That allowed me to get in here again. I had a bunch of weeds back here growing that allowed me to get back there, get that stuff out before they drop their seeds. And then I also get to see these huge tomatoes that are here growing. I mean, this one here is huge. So I'm probably gonna get those protected as well. And then, yeah, I saw this huge toad, frog, toad, whatever. Ooh, he just jumped away. So I gotta be careful where he jumped. But I'm gonna get this grow bag out of this corner too to harvest. She kind of jammed up in there. Is that a spider? No. Okay. See, those potatoes were leaning all over that bed. So, yeah. This one, I'll dig in there and see if there are potatoes at the top. If I feel anything at the top, then I'm gonna go ahead and harvest that. This is all that weed that grew there. So, get that out of there. See if I see any potatoes near the top. I do. Some of the ones at the top are small, so maybe I'll leave this one bag to let those start to turn a little bit more. To let the leaves turn a little bit more brown on that one. Yeah, actually I changed my mind on this one. I stuck my finger down. I can feel some good sized potatoes in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest that. I've restarted, I've already started succession planting of all these varieties. And so I'm gonna go ahead and sow this one. And if it doesn't look like a great yield from this first set, I can try to chip more real quick to get another round going. And I can grow these out in one of the 2 greenhouses, or they'll have enough time still in the season yet to grow, honestly. If I have all of August, all of September, they should be fine. And having them in grow bags will allow me to move them, like I said, into the greenhouse if necessary. So I will do that. So these 5 bags, so it's 5 bags from this side and 4 bags from the other side so far. Now I'm gonna decide what I'm gonna do with these bags. But this is all just also gonna open up the space, allow more airflow, especially during this time when things are hot. We haven't even gotten to the real heat of summer yet. And so I need to have better airflow. And also because I have so much stuff, including lots more potatoes, now growing in these new beds that I have outside of the fence. Cucumber, squash, beans, all the things. So there's still plenty of food growing, and I may as well go ahead and get my potatoes. I also accidentally pulled out a leek, though, as I said earlier, I might go ahead and pull all those leeks from that bed, or at least maybe thin them, like take out a bunch of them and use that space, because I just feel like these aren't growing that well. And maybe they're done, maybe they're done. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this and use this food also before it gets worse. And I could use this whole bed to grow out more bush beans. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So once again, I'm gonna use this new garden area that I'm starting to set up to grow some more things under the shade of this mulberry tree. I'm gonna use this area real quick to harvest the potatoes. I'm gonna sort them by variety so that I can collect them and weigh them for my gardening journal, so I know how much each variety is yielding. Again, I'm growing all these different varieties just because I want to try the food, but also to see what grew best under which conditions in my garden. So yeah, I gotta take this last grow bag down that we are letting continue to grow out, so that'll join those other three. I'm gonna get the tripod, and then we're gonna record this potato harvest. All right, so I found one more container of potatoes I'm gonna harvest, and I have a second one of it that I'm going to leave to continue to grow along with these three here. And then I'm gonna leave these three containers to grow also. And now here's the final area that I need to decide on what I'm gonna do with these potatoes, because look, this thistle has started to drop its seeds. That's what the seeds look like, y'all. And the flowers are so pretty, and at first I'm like, oh, that's so pretty, not realizing how many seeds those jokers produce, and then they just blew everywhere. So I need to capture that. This pot is going to be infested with them. I'm going to try to suck those up with my little handy vacuum thing. And then again, all these tomatoes that I didn't even notice have already formed. I just started noticing them because I saw colors changing, and I was like, oh, they're tomatoes, because for a long time they were exactly the same color as the leaves, and I just didn't even notice them. So anyway, let me get up in here, get this together, and then we'll meet over where I'm going to be harvesting, and yeah, we'll start. Well, in trying to rustle this plant up, I didn't realize I was pulling on a branch that had tomatoes on it. Those tomatoes, I didn't even know they were all there, y'all. So these three fell off, so I guess we're gonna have some green tomatoes added to the harvest today. All right, so I have these two of the four. These are of the four, there are two varieties, 2 bags each. I'm going to take 1 bag of each variety and leave 1 bag of each variety over here to continue to grow. So there are the 2, and I'm going to come back in here after I do the harvest, get these tomatoes staked up properly and get some bags put on them to protect them in case the critters decide to come early. And yeah, I think right now I'm gonna go ahead, since I've decided on all the potato bags to harvest, I'm gonna go ahead and do that harvest real quick. All right, y'all, so we're up here. We have 11 containers, grow bags that we're gonna empty out and harvest from, all right? Well, let's see what we get. Right now I'm gonna try to keep the varieties together, the different containers that have the same variety together, so I can get total weights on them. Yeah, let's just get started. And you can look back at my video I did back at the beginning of the season. I did 2 different videos where I talked about the varieties that I'm growing, if you care to know the specifics of that. But right now we want to see what's in this first round. As I've been mentioning throughout the season, I did a total of 4 successions, and I'm going to be actually now doing a 5th succession of some very fast maturing potato varieties as well. So yeah, we'll see how much I can get. Trying to grow a year's worth, and even if I don't get a year's worth, trying to get the information that I need to try to grow a year's worth until I can get a year's worth. Okay, so here's variety number 1. We're gonna start by just pulling out. I can already see a potato. I'm just gonna start by, actually I think what I'm gonna do is just try to dump this into the container. Let's see if we can do that. I can already see a potato. Okay, let's get in here. This is one where I left one of the grow bags there to still grow. It's supposed to be a later variety, but these, I can see the potatoes at the top, and I have more of these growing, so this will at least give me a feeling. But you can see here, they're already, even though they're small, they started making that skin on them. So I saw that at the top, and I was like, okay, maybe they need to come out. So these are probably ones that would grow, that would make more sense to grow like in a bed or in the ground versus this small container, or just like a bigger grow bag. So we'll see. See how the other ones do. What is this? Is this a big sweet potato? So there's this thing here. See, I feel like I should replant that. What is that? That's not the sweet potato. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that. I don't remember the seed potatoes. Yeah, that's the seed potato. Ew, that's gross. So, okay. Most of these containers, unless they were really small, I put just one seed potato in the center. So, let's gather these out of here. I gotta go over and get my containers. I left them on the other side of the garden. Now, just gonna dump this soil right back in there for now. Get this out the way. Put this back in here. All right, let me go get my containers and some paper to write down my varieties. I'll be right back. Okay, variety number 1 is done. Now, let's see if we have anything here. Variety number 2, yeah. And they're small. This looks like it has not been getting good water. It's probably watering the leaves, but not the soil. And again, this is just a recycled 5-gallon container with 1 seed potato in there. So it looks like a lot of them are growing. They're just not quite ready yet. Okay, so these out. Oops. I do have this variety growing in a bigger container also, so we'll see when it's time to harvest that big container if we get more and bigger potatoes or not. So this is variety number 2. Yeah, that soil is very dry. Which, if you're trying to grow the potatoes for storage, you want to do apparently. But when they're growing, they need water to get the tubers to grow bigger. Oh. Okay, let's move on to our 3rd variety. This is one that I've already harvested, so you should have seen this already in one of my daily harvest videos. Again, I also have more of these growing. They're at different stages, including 1 more grow bag from this first succession. So let's see what this grow bag has yielded. So you can already see potato pretty close to the top. Yeah. The roots are seem to be kind of attached to the grow bag at the bottom. So, yeah, very rooty in there. All right, let's see what we got. Get that worm out of here. Again, you can still see all these little ones. I'm gonna plop this turkey right back in that grow bag. Just gonna get off the big ones. And there's the 1 seed potato still in there. All this is growing off of that one. Okay, so this all just feels like soil and roots. So I'm gonna put that back in there. We'll see if those little babies grow. The soil back in here. let me get out potatoes that are not attached anymore. I mean, again, not bad from one potato in about 60 days. That's not bad at all. Okay, let's get the next variety going here. And again, decided to go ahead and test one of these because I saw potatoes at the top. But this, and all of them, I still have more growing. Yeah, there's the sweet potato. Huh. All right, so again, there's the big seed potato that was put in the center. It's very hard. That's what I saw, these little ones on the top. I'm gonna put that back in there along with this one here since it's still attached. They will again be growing all the way till the end of the season, hopefully getting bigger and harder skin for storage. I hope that was recording. My little battery message came on, so I gotta hurry up. But this is what I got from this container. I'm putting those back. And I had said that, again, I have more of these growing in larger containers. I might have this variety also growing in one of the large raised beds. I can't remember if I put this one in or another late harvest variety. But it's going to be interesting to see if I can get these to grow bigger. This is a russet variety. If I can get them to grow bigger just by leaving them in there longer. And yeah, we shall see. Okay, next up we're going to do this blue purple potato variety. I can feel a potato right there. See it? It's in here. Oh, this is heavy. They slip out so easily from the pots, but the grow bags, it's like they form, the roots attached to the bottom of the grow bag, and I just don't want to let go. Okay. Woo, this is a workout. And it's like 95 degrees. I'm gonna have to take a water break and charge the phone after this one, I think. But let's get some of the soil out so you can see some potatoes. This is not one meant for long-term storage. So I like to have the skin really thin. Some of these real nice early potatoes. But there's just a lot of soil, so let's lift the plants up quick. See what's going on. Woo! All right. Again, I'm probably gonna leave some of the smaller ones on there and see if I can get more to grow. I'm just loosening up the soil to feel for some medium to larger ones. These don't get super big. You know, it's like a little gamble. You can leave them and risk them rotting. But I feel like as long as they're still attached to the plant, they shouldn't. All right, so I'm seeing like 5 to 7 smaller ones I'm gonna leave on there. We'll see if, since I have more soil to grow into, if they'll grow bigger or not. As the leaves continue to die back. We shall see. All right, let's see if anything fell off. I just want to make sure I'm not putting back any potatoes that I've already detached, because they're probably just going to rot then. Oh, it's more in here than I thought. Okay, well, hopefully I haven't missed any. I'm gonna get the soil back in here. Then, like I said, I'm gonna do a water break and let this phone charge. And we'll be back to continue. We have 6 more containers to do. All right, I'll be back. Okay, here's what I got from that blue potato bag. All right, friends, let's get through these last 6 containers as quickly as we can, because I need a cold shower. Oh. So I have 2 containers of this variety, and so I'm just gonna put it together. Man, look at those worms in there. We'll just leave that there. There's one. Oh, look at that. That's cool. And again, these are supposed to be small potatoes. So I think I'm gonna just go ahead and harvest all of these. I actually just set up in the 4th succession another round of these. Oh, there's the seed potato. I'll show y'all. There's what's left of the seed potato that I put in there. And again, there's all these. This really, wow. This grew a lot of potatoes. It's amazing. You know, maybe I'll group these and the ones from the other container together. Let me get something to put these in. Again, from just an upcycled plastic container, 1 seed potato. This is a very nice yield. And again, a lot of this was for me. Oh, that's one of those green jumping bugs. This is my learning year. I've grown a couple varieties and just wanted to explore some more, get a better understanding of the growing of potatoes. I'll make sure these are not jumping worms. Nope, those are regular worms. Let's get the other container. Okay, let's see what's in here. Let's do as good. Same thing, let's push it up. There we go. Now the first container yielded way more. It's interesting. I feel like I just got 3 off of that one. So I'll put that together. Now I feel like the ones, maybe the ones were bigger. I don't know. I wasn't even fully paying attention. But look at these big mama jammas. These fresh potatoes are just so good. It's hard for me not to keep trying to get more. And you know how it is. Once you set a goal, like, I really want to see if I can grow enough to keep us going for a long time. In previous years, I just always grew like a few containers. You know, probably got like half dozen to a dozen meals. Now, potatoes in Minnesota are also very cheap. Like, Minnesota grows a lot of potatoes. It's one of the big agricultural items for our state. So that's also part of it. I mean, I can get large bags, and Iowa's not far. So Idaho. So I can get Midwestern potatoes, big bags, pretty cheaply. So that's also part of it. But these specialty potatoes like these, I cannot. So it's just very fun to grow them. All right, let's keep this train rolling. I only have one of this variety for now. And I said that other Redskin variety I had sown before. I may have confused it. I think it may have been this variety that I harvested earlier. This is a one too that I have a lot of this growing in a bunch of different containers. Did I get anything in this one? Oh yeah, there we go. Let's see, these are lighter skinned ones. There's the sweet potato. This only has this one little one. Oh, there's a second one. Is that? No. So yeah, I'm not gonna bother replanting this one. But this is what I got from that container and one sweet potato. All right, now we're on to what I think is the last variety. One of these bags, I'm not sure. I don't see the tag. It may have come out or it's down in the soil from watering. So we'll do that one last. But I know these two containers we'll start with are the same, and I've harvested this one already too, I'm pretty sure. I shared that one. Let's see. We get here, hopefully more. And I also have more of these growing. This one's not looking so good. Well, they're in there. Oh, yeah. When I grow these next year, I definitely want to make sure, now I might have a large container of these going. I can't remember. I have to go look now. And if I haven't planted all of them yet, I'll make sure to try to put them in a bigger container to see if I can get more. But again, not bad. From the seed potatoes for these are tiny too. They were like really small. So, whoops. And I'll have to go through the soil as I transfer it back out of this because might be missing some. But let's get the second container in here real quick. That's because I'm feeling like I need another water break. Okay, here's the second one. Good size one. Again, this is as big as I've ever grown. These are not meant to be big potatoes like the russets. These are meant to be more like new potatoes that are fresh, thin skinned, so you can eat the skin, and they're beautiful and delicious. Let's get this out of here. Not bad so far. Now we're going to do this last container, which is either this one or the all blue. It's either a purple potato or a blue potato. Let's see. I'll go through this carefully as I put it back in pots because I'm going to sift through that and reuse that soil. Here's this last bag, y'all. This is so heavy. Whew. This is one of those potato bags that have a pocket on it. I've never lifted it to see what's in there, but hopefully this is not just soil. Hopefully there's a lot of potatoes in here. Let's see if I get lucky with this one. I already see some small ones up there. That was my fear. This might be one that I needed to have it go longer. Let's see. All right, let's start. Take that out. I'm gonna put these aside because again, I'm not sure which one these are, but I'll be able to tell when I cut them open. I was hoping I could tell from the skin. I think these might be the blues, but to separate them just in case. And again, that's just for me because I am trying to get weights to see if there's any logic consistency to what, container size and what I got out. So the bottom seems to be just a lot of soil, unfortunately. Alright, so let's see what's here, and just to get more. Yeah, I think these are the all blues. A little bit darker than this one we just harvested. Alright, so I'm gonna put this into a plastic container instead of back into that big grow bag because it didn't seem like anything was growing down in the bottom of that anyway. So we'll put that all down there and we'll check the soil while we backfill. And this is what I got from that grow bag. All right. So I put those ones that I'm not completely sure of in here with these potatoes. And then here's everything else. What I'm going to do is take them inside. I'll rub the dirt off just with a paper towel and get them weighed and recorded for my journal. And then I'm going to come, I'll water the containers of the ones that I'm going to try to see if those small baby potatoes that, they're not really edible right now, if they'll continue to grow. And then I will gonna reuse this soil to start some other things as well. All right, that's it for the potato harvest of today. We still have lots more. Let me just do a quick scan to show you all the other potatoes that are growing up here. I have some down in the main garden too, but let's just do a quick scan here, and then we'll be back out here tomorrow to continue on the weeding and harvesting. All right, friends, so in addition to all those we just harvested, all the bags that are still inside growing, I think they're like, what, 8, 10 bags, grow bags still inside growing or regrowing. And I have these 2 huge beds that are filled with potatoes, as well as some other things. All these grow bags over here and containers are potatoes at different stages. So yeah, I'm so excited to see. You can see here, these are some of the latest ones. Nothing has even broken the soil. This is that third succession. They're just starting to break the soil. Yeah. The second succession ones are up, and they have already flowered and dropped their flowers. So yeah, we are just trying to grow a lot, taking notes, trying hard to master growing a year's supply of potatoes in my Minnesota Zone 4 garden. All right, let me get that food inside and get it weighed. Actually, friends, before I hit the shower, I'm gonna go ahead and get these last few things that I want to get today. I noticed that there's some squash in there that I could totally harvest over here, different variety. And I'm gonna go ahead and wait for tomorrow for that. I will pull just a couple onions, but I'll come back tomorrow. I'm gonna get some squash. I'm gonna get all the rest of the short day onions out of here. And then I have a bunch of stuff I'm gonna get up in that hillside garden that I mentioned earlier in this video. But for now, I want to get that cucumber that I saw yesterday. I didn't get it. I saw a couple of ripe little cherry tomatoes, and I'm gonna pull some peppers that are on small plants and pretty close to the ground. Look here, my first round of black-eyed Susans are gonna be opening soon. Rudbeckia. This is a favorite of mine. These red echinacea also are just stunners. See, these two sriracha peppers are ripening nicely. I'll get those tomorrow. Cucumber and saw one of these peppers ripened to orange, so I grabbed that. I noticed here when I was watering, some of these baby pepper plants have bell peppers that are getting pretty big and down low, so I want to get those off. Since I got the cucumber and it's been very hot, I'm gonna go ahead and get this lettuce that I've been having growing underneath my okra leaves. A lettuce variety that's self-seeded and amazingly survived our zone for winter. The seeds did, and they grew out of the mulch next to the grow bag that I grew them in. And I noticed that there's one more growing out of the soil. Let me show you another one that popped up. So this is amazing. This lettuce must have like a really hard seed coat, so it did not rot over our long winter. So I'm gonna be sowing a bunch more fresh lettuce seeds now that my tomatoes are going to start ripening and the cucumbers are coming in. I already started some microgreens, but I'm gonna start a bunch of different lettuces because my salad bar season is gonna start, and I'm definitely gonna be starting more of those. Found a couple more over in this bed also. They're just really low. You can see they were like touching the ground, and that's how the bugs will get them. So I'm gonna get my food. Even if it's not fully ripened, it will be enjoyed. It's a variety that also, like, it lasted through most of the summer, a long portion of the summer last year when many of the other lettuce varieties had already bolted. And I just left the flower seeds there, the head forming, because it was just really pretty, dark burgundy with yellow, and the bees loved humming around it. But yeah, I was definitely also pleasantly surprised to see these seedlings sprouting out of the mulch. So I'm excited to start a bunch of my wonderful lettuces though. Normally I grow a lot of lettuce very early in the season. I didn't this year because number one, I focused on the hillside garden and expanding, and then all the green stalks were coming in. And number two, I realized like I often have a lot of lettuce, but I don't have the tomatoes and the cucumbers and the peppers to go along with it. So I just, you learn over the time what grows when in your garden, and you can adjust to have all the things that you want available around the same time at least. That's my goal, that's my plan. So far it's working pretty good. Watering that bed, I saw a few more. All right. So yes, a lot of green peppers, but again, they grow low and I don't want them to break the plant. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get these srirachas because as I look, I see a red one that's also pretty close to the soil. Well, that's just because the plant needs to be staked, but I'm gonna go ahead and get that one. And then we'll get these two here that have started turning red. So, all right, let me get inside because the longer I stay, the more I will see things that I want to do or touch or harvest. So that was a nice, long, productive day in the garden. All right, friends, so let's get this food weighed. I'm just gonna put all the peppers, with the exception of the srirachas. I'm recording the sriracha weight separate. The rest of these, I might start, once I get to the stage where I'm doing larger quantities of the different varieties of peppers and they've ripened, I might harvest them and weigh them separately. But same with the cucumber. Well, let's just see what the cucumber weighs just to start with, because cucumbers are so tiny. This one is anyway. Yeah, so that one cucumber is 2.1 ounces. But let's just put the rest of the food that we got from the lower garden in there. So that's a total of 15.3 ounces, so almost a pound. And then we'll just put the 3 srirachas on top. So that brings it up to 1 pound, 1.5 ounces. So I'm gonna put these aside to save for when I harvest more, hopefully today, at some point over the weekend. Let's get this back and we'll weigh the stuff we got in the hillside garden. All right, so same thing. I'm gonna do all the peppers. I think I got them all. And that one little tomato from the hillside garden. We'll put those in all together. So that's 8.3 ounces for all that deliciousness. So you see, when you hear people say they harvested 10 pounds of peppers, especially small ones, they harvested a lot of peppers. Because, I mean, this is a half a pound. So, and again, like if you see a canning recipe and, you know, when you're making things, I mean, you need such large quantities sometimes. So if you want to do that, and especially if you're trying to do a year's worth or a good supply, you got to grow a lot. You got to grow and harvest a lot of food. Now, I'm not quite there yet. You know, I can get in some, there's certain things that I can really grow a lot of. And so I lean into that. Actually, let's do the peas last because there's some peas on the bottom. Now we're just going to put in all the different bean varieties together. Such a pretty, colorful mixture. And again, that's the hard part, right? I mean, this was like, you know, it's a lot of food. It's a lot of plants out there. It's a lot of time and care. And for me, it's certainly worth it. I know where this food came from. It's not pumped with, you know, aggressive fertilizers that'll make things grow fast and all these hormones and stimulants. This is just seeds and some good soil, some sun and some water and some time. Now this big old bowl is not even a pound, 15.3 ounces. Now, it's a few servings of the vegetable and I love it, but just to keep things in perspective, the amount you have to grow to can up, you know, a year's supply of green beans, you need a lot of beans. You need some bushels. And so, yeah, this is the learning for me, right? It's like, that's why I try to, when I zero in on something I really like, and I say, okay, I want to have a year's supply of that, I have an understanding also of like how much I need to plant to even try to get the amount that I need to preserve, right? And everybody's garden's different. Everybody's zone. I'm in zone 4. I don't have that long to grow, right? If you have 8 months of growing time, you have twice as much time to grow what you need. So anyway, I'm just chit-chatting. And finally, we're going to do the peas. I found one more little tomato, so we'll throw that in there. This is the pea mixture. That's 3 ounces. That's a serving of peas, basically. We'll put our little tomato in. That brings it up 0.3 ounces for the little tomato. And finally, we will weigh these 3 green tomatoes that I accidentally knocked off when I was dealing with the potatoes. So those 3 tomatoes are at 11.3 ounces. They're going to get used. All right, now let's start weighing the potatoes. All right, so just for, you know, preservation and curing reasons, I'm not gonna take the dirt off until I'm ready to clean them up and cook them. And so this is variety number 1. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of weight from the soil. I mean, they're not coated in soil, but. So that's a little under a pound, 15.2 ounces. Next up. No, I'm not going to bother weighing that because I'm not going to eat that with potato. So that variety was 6.2 ounces. This one is 7.6 ounces, variety number 3. Variety number 4 in. And again, remember, these are all going to get consumed. None of these are getting stored because none of them have grown to the stage where they are, you know, they have a thick enough skin for storage. I harvest them all as new potatoes, as we talked about earlier. So the skin is thin. They're not going to preserve well. They are for my early enjoyment while I wait for the real big harvest at the end of the season. Hopefully a big harvest. And so that variety is at 14.8 ounces. All right, variety number 5. That is at 10.6 ounces. Okay, variety number 7. Actually, this is variety number 6. Variety number 6. 14.6 ounces. Okay, let's do variety number 6. So just under a pound, 15.9 ounces. All right, let's do variety number 7. Okay, so that is at 1 pound, 2.2 ounces. And then I figured out, I'm pretty certain that this, that one bag where I couldn't find the tag, I'm pretty sure, actually, I'm gonna cut into one of these small ones to see what it looks like on the inside. That'll tell me what this is. Yep, I was correct. So this one that was unlabeled and another bag go together. So we'll get those together combined. Whoops, I forgot to turn the scale on. Hang on. And it dawned on me, and you remember I was kind of surprised that there were so few potatoes, but then I have a remembrance and I have to look back at a video. This was a grow bag where when the potatoes started growing, a critter, I don't know if it jumped onto that grow bag or was digging. I think it was digging. It was during the early season when the squirrels were out digging, and it uprooted several of the little green plants as they were breaking through the soil. And I think that's just disrupted some of the growth. And so, yeah, I had that remembrance. And so, oh my goodness, the scale turned off again. Let me just put these all together and stop talking. Let's just get these all in here and get this weight. Stop talking. Okay, so this is the largest quantity, 2 pounds. So I'm very excited about that. All remember with all these grow bags, I shared a video when I started these. I put, most of them got 1 seed potato, a couple of the bigger bags got 2. And you know, to get 5, 6 potatoes from 1 potato, 2 pounds from a couple little, and they weren't big potatoes, they were little seedling potatoes. I am thrilled with that. I think it's just so fascinating how potatoes grow. Notice this, how I'll cook these first. This is what I mean by how thin that skin is. It just brushed right away. So these are the kind of new potatoes, right? You get them scrubbed up real good. You roast them and you can keep the skins on because the skins are very, very thin. I don't tend to eat a lot of potato skins. I personally find that they're a little hard to digest, and I like to be a little gentle with my digestive system. And so I usually will peel some and roast. My husband and son both love that like crispiness of the thin skin on them when they roast, but that's just to show you like how thin that skin is. So these are not at that stage where you can cure them and expect to have them for long-term storage. The skin is just too thin. They need to stay in the ground for probably like another 4 to 6 weeks, and have the leaves dye completely back to brown. And word is that's when the skin is thick enough that you should be able to store them. But yeah, we'll see how mine are. Like I said, I still have more of all of these growing with the intention of not harvesting them until the leaves die completely back, and we'll have a good comparison for me in my garden, how I grow, where they are, how I planted them, what I did, and how they end up. So yeah, but I'm very excited with this new potato harvest, and these will keep me satisfied using these over the next, you know, probably 2 weeks. I'll sprinkle these into meals, and they will prevent me from that urge to go dump out more bags prematurely, because it's like I get to taste 8 different varieties. Plus I've already harvested. I did I think 3 or 4 other varieties. You should have seen those videos by now. So I'm able to enjoy some potatoes throughout the season early, and it satisfies me until it's time to really get in a lot of stuff and have them all here for a longer period of time. But anyway, I'm just the lettuce you saw, that I just washed that off real quick, wrapped it in a paper towel, put that in the fridge. That'll be a part of salad along with some of the stuff for dinner tonight, including my cucumber. And yeah, I think with this video, I think what I'm doing is just showing you some of the cooked meals from some of this harvesting at the end of the video, because obviously like I'm not cooking all this up for dinner tonight. And so yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. I think I'm gonna ride this through. We'll share Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll wrap the video up as far as harvest goes. All right, y'all, let me get back to work. I think this is a squash vine borer. But look, daddy long leg, daddy long leg. So is it a showdown? I don't know. But I think I'm gonna have to take care of this before it can fly away. And I will be spraying down my plants in case it laid some eggs. Y'all, I really don't like to mess too much with the bugs, but when I see bugs that can really destroy a lot of my food, they gotta bite the dust, y'all. But that was kind of cool seeing those daddy long leg spiders, or whatever they are called, lined up. But y'all know I'm about to go up in here. This has a squash. This has squash and cucumbers all up in here. So I'm gonna hose these things down real good and keep an eye on this area. But I got that boar. These tomato plants need a little bit of tender loving care after the heat. They were already producing some birds were coming in here. I think it was birds coming in here stealing them. So I had to net this thing. But I'm gonna harvest off the ones that are blushing, even though they're not fully ripe and red, and get these 2 pots trimmed up and fertilized and loved on a little bit, because I needed to keep producing. All right, friends, I'm gonna get this one squash here. Could it get bigger? Yes. But do I want my squash now? Yes. From over here, I'm gonna get the squash and just a few onions, because I actually have a change in plans today. What I thought we were gonna do tomorrow, my family wants to do today, because tomorrow is the World Cup finale. I forgot. So while the boys are watching that, I get to be out here in the garden. And so I'll do big onion harvest and some more maintenance, and we'll see whatever else is ready. But we're just gonna get this one yellow squash for now, and we're gonna cook this up with dinner. We have the steak cooking. I'm gonna be pairing this with just a quick simple meal, some steak, the onions, zucchini, and I still have a bunch of the beans and peppers that we harvested yesterday. So we're just gonna saute those vegetables all together. But actually, let me stay focused and figure out which onions I'm gonna take. Is there any more up here? I'm just gonna get all these that are clearly blocked out by the squash. All right, so this is plenty. Like I said, I'll get the rest. I'm gonna get everything that's in these 2 beds, or maybe it's even, I think it's these 3 beds that I put. I can't even remember. I'll see. Everything is so covered. But I think there's onions in all those beds, all 3 of those. We're gonna get those out. And then also down in here, these are the, again, I think they're called cipollini. Let me show you the tag. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but that's what these are down here. And again, these don't get real big. I'm gonna just get one more, mainly just to show you again. They have that kind of shape. These are great. Like, you could just pickle that, get that skins pulled off, and cut it off and pickle that whole thing. That's what I was originally growing them for. I have yet to pickle them. I've been eating them. But that's not bad. So I love planting onions that I can harvest actually within about 60 days of planting out in the garden. And then I like to have varieties growing that will grow pretty much my whole growing season, and I can harvest for storage. But yeah, backyard grocery store at its finest, y'all. So let's get inside and get dinner finished up for the family. All right, so here's one of the potato varieties, the pink skinned one. They do lose a bit of the pinkness. They have a pink hue to them after roasting. And this bowl is all vegetables from the garden. Also, some bell peppers, peas, onions. Yeah, I think that's it. Deliciousness. And then I have some roasted chicken thighs from the local farm. And then here's what I did with the zucchini, along with some of the onions. Grilled up some steak. Warm rice. Today we're going to try out 4 varieties of potatoes. We've tried the one on the far right before. Yeah, I think that was in an earlier harvest. I feel like, or I cooked some already. Yeah, I feel like that was the second harvest, the red skin potato. And then we have 3 more varieties. This one here, look, it's purple all the way through. How gorgeous is that? So I did leave some with the skin on, some peeled. Left most of these with the skin on. They're very thin, new potatoes. I did peel the skins off of the white one. And then this one here, we ate them the first time with the red skin peeled, and this time I'm gonna roast them with the skin on, and we'll see, you know, what that's like, if the skin is too tough, etc. So yeah, I'm gonna get these seasoned up how I normally do and just roast them in the oven. And still one. Wow, they're so good. I might have a little bite, but I mean, I literally got them for y'all. This was like, I mean, that's how much they charge, but remember the opening thing? I had that big discount.